So this recording is for Station 2, which is the close reading with Miss Mac. So on your station document, you're going to fill in the chart on Station 2. And really the purpose here is to talk about the importance of close reading and thinking really critically about a text. So today we're going to start with a picture. So I want you to push pause for a second and look at the image and ask one question or more than one question in this first column of your chart. So when we take a look at a text, like in this case, this picture, there are going to be certain things that stand out to us right away. So one of the first things I notice is that this table right here is missing a leg. So that's what I'm going to write here. The coffee table is missing a leg. As I scan the picture a little more, I notice, because I started here, I noticed that is it a cat? There is a cat in the cage by the couch. All right. Some other things I notice. Well, I see there's something steaming in the fireplace. There is a lamp on the table. There's a man and a small child on the couch. And I'm going to run out of room here. So let me adjust this. And there is a woman and children around the table eating. All right, so this is just what I noticed first, right? So there's nothing right or wrong to notice first. There's just things to notice first. So the next part you might be thinking is, well, you didn't ask any questions. Well, now I'm going to go and question, why is the table missing a leg? So I can come back and I can write questions here, like why? Why is the cat in the cage by the couch? What is steaming? So take a moment and go back through and fix your first draft reading questions or statements into questions. The next thing that we want to take a look at is the next time we look, we're going to look a little more closely. We don't have to look closely at everything, but we want to look closely at some things. What else do we start to notice that we didn't see the first time? Because we were looking at larger details the first time. So in our second draft reading, the second time we look at a text, we want to start looking at smaller pieces, some smaller details. So I notice that this man is over here and he's reading the newspaper upside down. So why is he reading the newspaper upside down? That actually makes me ask a second question about him. Why isn't he at the table with everyone else? So as you look a second time through, what other details did you miss the first time? I start to notice things like, well, this woman isn't just sitting here, she's pouring what looks like tea onto the table. So why is the woman pouring tea onto the table? So go ahead and push pause and add some more questions that are more specific to your second draft reading column. Now, many times we still miss details. We're still not looking or thinking carefully enough because we are thinking about the whole piece and not the smaller details. So we started here with this man. He was sitting here. We've asked the question about why he's not at the table with everybody else. He's reading the newspaper upside down. He's also in a suit. Why is he in a suit? We can start to think more critically about who he is. Is he the father of all of these kids? Who is he? Who is this man? There aren't going to be too many details to give us an answer, but it's important to ask the question because it furthers our understanding and our thoughts. We can also think about what's not here. So when I look at this image, I think about how it looks older, not only just because it's in black and white, but the clothing that they're wearing appears to be from an earlier time period, like maybe the 50s or 60s. Their hairstyles look a little more like what hairstyles would have been in the 50s or 60s. So there are other things missing from this image that I would expect. So I might say things like, why isn't there a TV? Where is the radio? Those were very common in rooms that look like living rooms, that have couches and tables or dining room tables. There looks like another table over here, but this looks like an area that would have those things. It looks like a gathering place. So one of the things we want to get better at as we look more carefully is to hone in on those details. So at this point, I want you to complete your first, second, and third draft readings. So they can all be questions. They can be a mixture of questions and statements, but there should be a progression. These should be more broad, these should be more narrow, and these should be the most specific kinds of questions. Because ultimately, this is what we're doing. We're starting with complete confusion. We don't know anything about what's happening in this text. We think about what's happening in the text when we look at it for the first time. We come up with some ideas in the second and third draft reading of a text. And then by the end, by the fourth, fifth, or even sixth time of reading something, we form a better understanding or start to provide some conclusions and inferences about the text.